Welcome to Caldwell County Today. I'm Paige Counts, Public Information Officer for Caldwell County. Joining me today is Keith Smith to talk a little Christmas.
Yes, this is the first time I've ever been here, Paige, so I look forward to this. I'm definitely lying about that. It's always good. You're always so accommodating and welcoming, and I appreciate that. But we're going to talk about Christmas. As of this taping, it's just before Thanksgiving, but I try to honor the tradition of getting through Thanksgiving and dealing with Christmas, but when you do work with music, you got to start early.
You do.
Yeah, so what we're talking about is our 11th annual Home for Christmas concert. It's always the second Friday and Saturday of December at the Hub in Hudson, the Hub station. And this year that's Friday, December 8th and Saturday, December the 9th. And we have a meal. It's not dinner theater, but dinner concert. So we begin with a meal at 6:30. And that's catered by Sim's Barbecue, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. And then the concert itself is at 7:30. And people, I'm going to give a few logistics. People can come to both the dinner and concert for $30, or can come to the concert alone for $15. But we encourage you to come and eat and enjoy the meal. And it's close to Christmas. You're getting busy. You're shopping. You don't have to cook your own meals. They'll be prepared for you. They're having their barbecue chicken and their pork barbecue and slaw and mixed baked beans and potato chips and rolls and peach cobbler.
I started to say all I saw was peach cobbler, and I didn't really need to hear anymore.
Yes, you didn't need to hear anymore, say. But that puts the icing on the cake, literally. But you have to, you don't have to like come see the show. We prefer you do it and make reservations because they have to know how many people to feed. So we want you to call, and I'll tell you how to do that in a moment, and get your tickets. I want to talk just a little bit about how this began, if that's okay.
Let's talk about how it began, Keith.
Yeah, in 2010, I started this concert because I was like reminiscing about my childhood Christmases. And when, spoiler alert, when I grew up enough to learn there really wasn't a Santa Claus. You know, Christmas was, it took a little bit out of the magic out when I was young. And I still always enjoyed the fellowship and the food and the music of the season, but I was thinking of ways to recall the magic of those childhood Christmases. And I have to divert and tell this story real quickly. There's a girl named Diane Hamby and I were in the 4th grade at Bayton together and had Miss Tedder for a teacher. And she must have been reading a story about something about there really wasn't a Santa Claus, she said, because she said, how many of you do not believe in Santa Claus? And Diana and I were the only two to raise our hands. Diane and I, and she sent us out in the little alcove outside, and I guess she was talking about, and I was at a point where I was trying really hard to believe. I was having my own questions, but we're out there and we're standing there, and it's kind of bad that you're stuck outside there. So she was there, I guess, reading a story, and I said, well, Diane, I guess you and I are the only two who still believe in Santa Claus. She said, oh, I don't believe in Santa Claus. I just wanted to get out of class. I'll never forget that. But so anyway, reminiscing about childhood Christmases. I was an only child, and this is back in the all through the 60s and early 70s growing up. We had one of those old console, big mahogany cabinet stereos that it took 4 people to pick up.
Furniture.
It was furniture, and you had the console inside. And we would put on when we went to bed, my mom and dad and I, they were down at the end of the hall, and I was in the room right beside them, and we put on like 5 long-playing albums. And it was people like Bing Crosby and maybe some Dean Martin, Perry Como definitely, Frank Sinatra, Andy Williams, Nat King Cole, different groups of singers, the Fred Warner singers. And so we just listened to that as we fell asleep and anticipate Christmas. So and we had those kind of what I consider tacky now, plastic candles in the window with like blue bulbs, and we had one of those reflector lights that had green and blue and autumn and I guess gold. No, autumn and red and blue and green. And it would go around. It was supposed to be for a silver Christmas tree, but we just had it in there to go around and had our other Christmas tree. And we moved that console to put our Christmas tree in the window. But I was thinking, those days were special, looking back, and how could we recreate that? So I thought, well, we could do a concert with the theme Home for Christmas, and people could reminisce about their childhood Christmases, and we try to get people in the festivities of the season, get them in the mood and the Christmas spirit. And so we started in 2010, and we did it every year except 2 years when I had surgeries, and then 1 year during COVID we didn't do it. It's the 11th annual. It was actually 9 or 8 and then 9, 10, 11 consecutively. We've been back for 3 years. We have around 50 singers every year, very talented area singers of whom I'm very proud. And we have an array of both spiritual and secular music, sacred and secular, and hymns and carols, and we'll talk a little bit about those too. But we also have, I'll try to have, I always have some surprises.
I know,
and fun.
I look forward to a Keith's surprise in a concert, a show.
And we won't talk about the specifics or there wouldn't be a surprise,
right.
but we do have, there's a lady from Hickory named Lori Hoffa, and she has, and I'm not exaggerating, she has a world-class manger collection. She has over 500 pieces from over 40 different countries. And she came last year and displayed 100 pieces or so of maybe 120 of her manger collection. Well, she's coming back this year. She'll be just down the hall, and you got to allow time to go see that. But this year she has 100 completely different pieces she's bringing, maybe 10 that she likes to feature all the time, but otherwise it's brand new. So if you came last year, you can come back and still see fresh pieces. And this, as I mentioned, this is catered by Sim's Barbecue. And they're having, I mentioned the menu too. So you'll eat at 6:30 and the concert's at 7:30, but maybe come at 6 or even 5:30 or go at intermission or finish eating, and you'll make sure you see those mangers.
And I won't interrupt you here.
That's fine.
You were talking about how long you've been doing Home for Christmas, but no two shows are ever the same.
Never. There are a few standard pieces that we've done over the years, and we repeat, like the song "Home for Christmas" itself, a signature piece, and some others. We change it up. It's different every year, but this year it's more changed up than ever because I wanted to get like almost totally, completely new, fresh pieces, and also it's no secret we're aging out a bit. Our median age range is probably 50s and 60s, and even several people in their 70s. And they love singing. They're all very talented singers. A lot of them have been music directors or choir directors, and some still are. But we keep talking about, well, standings, getting to my knee or my hip or this. So what we're doing, one of our goals we thought about this year, it's not going to happen this year, but we have some angels out there we're hoping for to help us to acquire some risers. And these would be 4-foot risers, like they're band risers instead of standing choral risers, so we can have a seat on there and sit and then stand to sing and have room to do that. And we found these wonderful ones that come from Pennsylvania that we're going to order, and they just place together so well you don't have to spend 4 hours screwing them together and everything. And the rest of the hub, we wouldn't use them outside the hub, but there's nothing there. The Mitford Museum could use them or whatever, so I think that's a good thing. And I was talking to you that next year we're going to bring in a chamber orchestra. I have a cantata picked out, and we'll have about 14 orchestra pieces. And I'm looking very forward to that. It's going to be costly, but we're going to find ways to do it. And then we're going to bring some kids in, preferably as many kids as we can, but especially some underprivileged kids who maybe couldn't afford to go see a concert or chamber orchestra or a big choir. And we're going to bring them in like the Thursday before we do this on Friday and Saturday next year, and maybe feed them pizza and let them be exposed to that type of music, which, as we were talking, I think is a very important thing.
We were talking off stage that way back, we're not going to talk about how long ago, Keith, but many years ago, we had artists in residence.
Sure,
I don't know,
in the 70s mainly, yeah.
I don't know if they still do that. They may, but we were exposed to all kinds of different forms of art and different music, and it's really good for kids.
Well, and it may be happening somewhere still, but it's more rare now. You don't say we don't have it around here, but yeah, that was when I had the youth ensemble singers, the Yes Girls. That was my whole intent. I wanted them to participate in their choirs at school or their choruses and in their choirs at church, but I wanted to make sure they were still exposed to traditional music and not let that die. And it's very important to keep that alive. So that's some goals we're looking for, so we're keeping it. The money we make from having people come up to me from the audience, or some of the singers too, saying this. It's a couple of weeks before Christmas. They said this kicked off my Christmas season or my Christmas spirit. So that means a lot to me, and to our singers as well. So this year we're doing, as I said, some new music. We have we have one of the things I'm not going to talk about much. It's not really a surprise, but I still want to kind of keep it under wraps. There's a dramatic reading that I think is going to be very special. And then we have something as early as some Gregorian chant, a very simple chant from the 6th century, all the way up through spirituals and other pieces as the group. And we're doing some singing where we feature, I used to always feature the men because the men's chorus, we do a couple of things, but the women said, we want to do something too. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone, having the women sing some pieces while the men sit and relax, and you get to hear the ladies with their nice voices, and then they'll sit while the men sing, and then we have several solos and a couple of skit type things or dramatic things, and then at the end of each act, the first half is sacred. And I had to think for a minute because it's the other way around for men's chorus last weekend. The first half is sacred and the second half secular. And we conclude each section with the choir singing as a full choir because that's the climactic thing that we need to focus on, to focus on our purpose for being there. So we hope you will attend. The way you get tickets, Hudson's very supportive of, I do a lot of activities through Hudson officially, but the town, our commissioners, our town manager, John Greer, are all very supportive of what I do, and Addie down at the Hub, the manager of the Hub, and the director of the Hub, they're all very supportive, but this is not an official Hudson event, but we rent from the Hub and we do that, and they support us, but we don't go through the town to get tickets, so you need to contact me to get your tickets, and we'll put stuff on the board. I'll tell you, you can call 322-3169 or email JKSART59, that was here I was born, at gmail.com, or mail to 5490 Suttlemyre Lane, Hickory, 28601. But again, we'll put those up.
We'll put all that on the screen so people can remember all the details. And it is preferred that you get your tickets ahead.
Yes, and we especially if you're eating, but even for the other tickets, it's a labor of love. We're all volunteers who do this, but it kind of falls on me. It's my project, and I willingly accept this, but I've kind of got to make sure that we generate enough money to pay for this because I pay up front for rental, and that's great, but we got to plus also we want people to see it after all the hard work the singers have put in and some instrumentalists. But also it's important to me, once you establish something, a certain level of quality, it's important for me every year to live up to that quality. And all of our singers have busy lives, and they're not required to come to all rehearsals. We have up to 12 rehearsals, but I ask people to you're certainly welcome to come to all of them, the singers, but we ask them to make at least 5 or 6, and all of them if they can, but to make sure they're comfortable with the music. So all that's the challenge, but so far it's paid off every year. We have donated to some and talked of donating also to some organizations. One year we dedicated it to South Mountain Children's Home, and we financed everything. This year we may give a little bit to Bethany Wolf to take her West Caldwell Chorus. They're raising money to go to Toronto next spring. But the last few years it's mainly just gone back into the funds to fund the next project. And I think we ended up last year with $600 profit, but that's already been spent on rental and music and buying, antlers. It was fun. You don't have to tell. That's part of the surprise.
That's part of the surprise.
Other things like that. So anyway, we really need your support, but also, and you can make a donation if you wish to, but we also just want you to enjoy it, and we want the singers to, with all their hard work, to have a good audience to
And I'm going to ask you, I know 50 singers, we can't name all of them, but can you just give us a few highlights of maybe who's participating this year?
Well, I mentioned some soloists.
Right.
I have a friend who has come in now, and I've known him for 30 years, close to it, if not 30. A very fine man who used to sing with the Hickory Choral Society. He's a minister and a minister of music. He's a great voice, a very dynamic person, wonderful guy. His name is Kyle Canterday, and he sang with the Hickory Choral Society for years and years. And now he's come over to the Caldwell Men's Chorus. He says he's having a great time there, and he's singing this event. And he and I have sung together in duets or trios over the years, but this year it's been all the time Kyle, and that's a blessing. And he and Glenn Neal, who is a wonderful singer, had some featured music the other night at men's course. I'm so impressed with Glenn because he has that glorious voice.
He does.
And he's also a man of letters. He has his doctorate in education, but he's so unassuming and low-key and so pleasant you would never realize all that. But the two of them and David Bigelow, who's been one of our regular members over the years, very wonderful deep bass voice. They're singing a trio called Out of the East about the wise men coming to Nazareth, actually, not to Bethlehem. So they'll be featured. Brian Clark is going to, he's caring for his brother. He has to do it, and he's not singing fully with us, but he is going to come in to do his trademark signature, Mary, Did You Know? And so we'll have that. Have a young lady, Maddie Wilson, who's done some plays with me. She's going to be singing I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. Have a lady that studied with Mr. Cogdell's daughter, Caroline Simeon, at Catawba Valley Community College. And her name is Christina Pereira, and she's doing a solo. Tara Barber, Neal now, is a retired teacher. She's sung with me for years and with Mr. Cogdell, and she and Christina are two of the very strong sopranos. We have a lot of our new men's chorus members. We have several coming in to sing with us, and I would mention everybody. I didn't give you a list to run, but they're all just as important, but that's just a few featured performers.
And those are people who, names I've heard before. I mean, I say that about Glenn, and I've known him for a very long time, but as far as performing, he's been performing for a long time, and people might recognize his name.
Yes.
As well with Brian and the others you mentioned. Those are familiar names in our community.
Yes, and the good thing is we have that standard group of people, maybe 30 people who I can look back in the early teens were singing with this, and I'm very appreciative of that. But then I can go find 12, 15 new names, and that's a very healthy way to progress from year to year. So.
Tell us again how to get tickets.
Okay, this will be on your screen. I trust Paige, she's going to put it right up there. You could 3 ways. You can call me and leave a message, and we get back to you and mail the tickets, or so you get them. It'll all be taken care of at 828-322-3169, or you can just mail a check in. Again, it's $30 for meal and the concert, and just $15 for the concert only. Send that to Wind and Woods Productions. That's the company. It's produced by Wind, W-I-N-D, and ampersand, Woods, W-O-O-D-S. And that's Wind and Woods. My name, Keith, in Gaelic, means the wind in the woods, which I thought was an artistic thing, so that's why I created that company several years ago. It's just an umbrella company to be able to perform things through. So it's Wind and Woods Productions. Checks made out to that, and mail to Wind and Woods Productions at 5490 Suttlemyre with a U, Suttlemyre, one word, Suttlemyre Lane, Hickory, NC 28601. Or you can email me, and my singers know, and many of you know, that I'm notorious for long and detailed emails, so I will take care of the emails and follow up. But it's how I communicate. So I told the men's chorus the other night, if you don't like emails and don't like humor and don't like stories, then you don't need to have me, because that's what you get with me. And they seem to accept that. So, but the email address is JKS for my initials, James Keith Smith, ART for art, and 59, the year I was born, 1959. So JKSART59@gmail.com. And please follow up with this and get involved. You'll be glad you did.
Again, the dates?
The dates are Friday and Saturday, December 8th and the 9th. And that's at the Hub Station in the main auditorium where we do our dinner theater plays. And so you come, preferably if you eat especially, come about 6 o'clock so you have time to see this manger exhibit, and then come get your meal and relax, and then you'll be glad you did. It's relaxing, and you can fellowship with others and enjoy the music.
Keith, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Paige. Paige is just so nice and accommodating, and Eric and Kirsten and her whole staff here now. She said it's a great staff, and they are. They go above and beyond to accommodate. I say it's me, but it's my projects, the men's chorus and our plays and our choruses, but they stay late after hours to do this or come to other locations, and I really do greatly appreciate it. So
Well,
it
we
means a lot
appreciate
to
what
me.
you're doing for the community.
So it's going to be at the hub again on 2 or 3 weeks from now. So,
All right, sounds great. Thank you again.
thank you, Paige.
And thank you for watching Caldwell County Today.